Here we are with Nick O'Donnell, corporate partner at Baker McKenzie, and we're in Baker McKenzie's lovely offices today. Thanks very much for talking to us, Nick. You have experienced a wide range of public and private acquisitions over the course of your career, and you're an expert on the London market, particularly, as I understand. I'm just wondering what your personal views are on the upcoming Brexit negotiations and specifically their implications for London's sort of preeminent position in the legal services market in Europe.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no getting away from Brexit. It's going to be one of the big themes for the next couple of years. And certainly it will have material impacts in some sectors and some areas. But what we're seeing is, from a broader perspective, to be honest with you, it's the broader global themes are going to continue in terms of globalisation and diversification. And I would be surprised to see London significantly losing its place as an international home for many companies.
So you're pretty optimistic then about arrangements being made over the course of these negotiations for UK law firms and lawyers to carry on practicing in Europe across multi-jurisdictional deals and so on?
Well, there's an area of uncertainty there, and of course we can't predict exactly how that will pan out. But I think, from a broader perspective, we still see English law being the law of choice for many international deals, and also litigation and arbitration internationally as well, away from the M&A side. So we still see London being retaining its position, although certainly there will be some challenges ahead in the next couple of years.
You mentioned diversification of the legal market and moving away from Brexit. Just to discuss it more generally, I'm just wondering, on that theme and others, what should law students and graduates hoping to secure a training contract and so on and enter this, the commercial legal market themselves, what should they be looking out for over the next year or two?
It's in terms of themes in the market?
Sure, yeah, in terms of the diversification of services and so
on. Well, I suppose we're seeing the continuation of the broader themes in terms of the shift to the east in the global economy, so continued deals coming out of places like China and India and Japan, notwithstanding greater regulation in China in particular. So I think thinking about how to operate on a cross-border basis is going to remain important. Being able to think outside of the kind of narrow confines of the UK, to really demonstrate the commercial aptitude to put yourselves into the shoes of your client, to think how they might approach operating in the global economy.
Over the course of your career so far, you've experienced some really interesting secondments to companies including Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, among others. Just for students and viewers and so on who have never been on a secondment yet and are wondering what the benefits are, would you mind just expanding on what a secondment involves and what benefits it brought to your practice?
Yes, I mean, I do. We do encourage our people to go on client secondment here. I think it is invaluable, both for the individual and for the firm. I think one of the really underrated skills for a lawyer is empathy, being able to really empathise with their client and understand where they are coming from. And when you go on secondment, usually in most cases, from day one you are treated as one of their own people, and you get to really experience the challenges of being in-house, and it always reminds you, when you're giving advice as a private practice lawyer, things like just telling them the law is really of no great value to them. Being able to think about the way they want to package it, what they will then do with it, how they will sell it internally, is an invaluable role. I've gone on to comment about every 4 or 5 years in my career so far, and I've always found it useful to have that reminder.
So you've really crossed the divide between private practice and in-house legal departments and so on. I'm just wondering if you think that the rise of in-house legal departments at many major companies has any other impact on the way that lawyers in traditional law firms operate.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Certainly we've seen with lots of the bigger corporations, they now have virtually law firms within their own organisations, and certainly we've seen some of the more commoditised work being taken in-house, and even some of the high value work again being taken in-house. So it's incumbent on those of us in private practice to think, how can we still remain relevant? How can we bring something new to the organisation? It's not necessarily just additional resources. It's thinking about how we can partner with them, so we can be flexible in our style. So we could work alongside them on a deal, for example, and do the bits of the deal they want us to do, and not the other bits of the deal, to get the technology to work, so that our people and their people can plug into the same database, have access to the same information, and can genuinely collaborate on deals together. And I think we're really just starting to see, although we've been working on that for a number of years, the reality is we're really just starting to see the benefits of that coming through. And I think the speed of change in the way the technology allows us to partner with clients is really going to quicken over the next 5 years or so.
So finally, Nick, going forward, do you see in-house legal departments and traditional law firms being able to just continue to coexist in the way that you've just described, or does the rise of in-house sort of legal services pose a threat to law firms in any way?
I think it poses a threat to some areas of private practice, but I think the smarter law firms don't see it as a threat; they see it as an opportunity. And we have to think about what our position in the market is and how we remain relevant. So companies don't owe us a living. We have to think about how we're actually going to deliver something that they value. So that, whether that's being in a more niche area with real specialist skills, whether that's being able to offer a global offer and global support to them, or whether it's some other way that we can add something they don't already have. So interesting times.
Thank you for those insights, Nick. Really, thanks very much for talking to us.
You're welcome. Good to talk to you.